Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Today we're taking a look at a very nice little keychain light. This is the Nitecore TIKI LE model. Let's get a closer look. Now it does come with this lobster claw keyring snap attachment. And it does come with this small split ring, which as you can see is uneven, just a little bit buggered up, but still perfectly functional. Unfortunately, the light and the lobster claw and split ring do not come attached. You have to do that yourself, and that is a pretty thick attachment point. So yeah, it's easy to bugger up this split ring a little bit, unfortunately. Still, works well and is a very nice handy accessory to have. Now, the body of the light itself is a advanced plastic polycarbonate and a little bit thin in profile here, a little bit wider here. You have one activation button on the side, and as you can see, it's raised just a little bit above the body, but that's not an issue because this is a light that is one of the least likely to accidentally switch on if you keep it on your keys inside a pocket and it bumps something in there. Two reasons why. First, the very first mode of activation. You push down on the activation button and you hold. There you get the highest setting, which is 300 rated lumens on this flashlight. Let go, and it switches off. Now, there is a slight delay of about 1 full second when you push down on the activation button. Because of that delay, which I get it, some people are not going to like that. They push down on a button, they want instant results. But that delay is going to prevent this little guy from accidentally switching on in a pocket. And the other mode of activation, if you press once, nothing happens. Nothing at all. So if this button gets accidentally clicked while in your pocket, the light will not switch on, and that's a good thing. In order to access the other modes from the main LED, you have to double-click rapidly. There you go. And it switches on in the lowest setting. So with this flashlight, depending on whether you press and hold or double-click from the off position, you get instant access to either the highest setting or the lowest one. Very useful. I wish more keychain flashlights had such an option. Now, to cycle through the modes once the flashlight is switched on in the lowest setting, it's just one click. So here we have the lowest setting, medium, high, and here's the highest setting, turbo, 300 lumens. Now, each time you click once, it'll just cycle through the modes. For example, back to low, medium, high, highest setting. In order to switch this flashlight off, once again, press and hold. Now, the great thing is this flashlight has no memory feature. No memory feature. That's a good thing because I switched it off in the highest setting. But once again, if I double click, low mode. Now, technically, this flashlight has no strobe feature, at least not from the main LED. But it does have strobe. Now, even though this is a black polycarbonate body, it is, not sure if you guys can see that. It is not solid black. Let me show you the next modes. You have to triple click very rapidly. And I mean very rapidly, otherwise all you get is low mode out the front. So let's see if I can do this. Most of the time in real life it works. In fact, almost all the time. But with my luck, let's see if it works on camera. And it did. That's a small miracle. Yes, there is a red LED option that turns on from inside the body of the light. Unfortunately, what you're seeing here on camera is not what you get in reality. In reality, you don't get nearly as much red side spill, and the red LED does not look piss yellow. Yep, the red LED looks red. So this is very useful for when you want to preserve your night vision. And I like having a red LED option on my keychain lights. A nice low red LED, very useful. Although if I'm honest, I have seen lower output red LEDs, but still very useful. Now, once this is on, if you click the activation button again, it switches to blue. Nice blue LED. And again, in real life, you don't get nearly as much dark blue side spill, and the LED itself does not look light blue. It looks blue. And the diameter is smaller than what you're seeing on camera. Sorry guys, my camera will always compensate for flashlight output, and you know, this is what sometimes happens. Now, like I said, technically there's no strobe out the front. However, this flashlight does have strobe mode. LE stands for law enforcement, but not really in a very serious way with this keychain light. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Guys, strobe warning. I'm going to hit this button and this flashlight is going to strobe. So, strobe warning. Look away now. I will say when it's okay to look back. If strobe is a serious issue for you, look away right now. Okay? And for everyone else who's watching this video, as you can see, you get strobe with the red and blue LED flashing back and forth, like the lights on top of a police car. Now, this is a great way to signal someone from a distance. Okay, for everyone else, it's safe to look again. And when you press this again, after the strobe function, you go back to the red LED. And again, in order to switch the flashlight off, hold the activation button and it switches off. So that's the mode setting. Now, that may seem a little bit complicated. Ironically, it's not. Once you learn that it's press and hold for high and double click for low, the rest of the settings are surprisingly easy to remember, at least for me. But yeah, there are some flashlights where if I haven't used them in a while and they have a complicated UI or a bit of an unusual user interface, yeah, that's not a fun time trying to figure out how the heck do I get to strobe mode, or where the heck is medium? What the hell? No, don't switch off. So yeah, I will admit the user interface on this little guy is a bit unusual, but it's not difficult to remember at all. So, and this little guy is very lightweight. It's going to be about 0.37 of an ounce. That's right, 0.37 of an ounce. And as usual, guys, specs in the description box below. Be sure to check that out when the video is over. Now, let me just address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, because, oh yes, I am going to talk about it. This is something that many of my colleagues, for lack of a better term, who run their shill channels, will never talk about, but I will, because I promised you guys blatant honesty, and here it is. Yeah. This is the Rovivon Aurora A1X. And this little guy came first before this little guy. And here's the thing. You might be saying, well, they're similar, but no. See, what you're looking at here is, for lack of a better term, the Gen 2 version. Because this light and this one, oh yeah, I'm just going to say it, based on my research and based on my humble opinion, Nitecore definitely copied Rovivon's Aurora series when they made this light. Well, Nitecore is not the only one. JetBeam has a stainless steel variation of this light. Now, this is not a direct comparison of these two lights. Despite that tiny activation button on the Aurora, the first gen Aurora flashlights had a similar shaped button to this one, maybe just a little bit skinnier and a different shade of gray. But yeah. Now, as you can see, there is a slight variation in length, and in terms of thickness, oh yeah. Nitecore basically took the Aurora line of lights, and it is an entire line, not just one model, and they improved on it in certain ways. I mean, The Tiki, when we compare it to the closest variation of the Aurora, is almost half as much, and you can't get a blue LED option from the body on the Aurora that you can on the Tiki. But I needed to address that. Again, it is very clear to me, based on my research and my humble opinion, that yes, Nitecore copied the first generation of Rovivon's Aurora line of lights, but have to admit, Nitecore did improve on it. This is the A1X, and it also comes with a plastic polycarbonate body. But in terms of modes, the Nitecore is going to be closest to the Aurora A5X. And on the A5X, you do have a red LED option that glows from the body, but the body on that flashlight is clear. On a keychain, this black-bodied Nitecore, much more subdued. And you don't get a blue LED option on the A5X. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, the A5X is nearly double the price of the Nitecore, which brings me to a big disadvantage of both the Tiki and the Aurora. Proprietary batteries that you can't get into. Or maybe it's not a proprietary battery, but it's a battery that you cannot access. Nope, can't access it. Here's the spot on the Tiki. You just lift that up, USB rechargeable, but you can't actually get to the battery in here, which means you can't replace it. Same thing on the Aurora. Also USB rechargeable, also non-replaceable battery. I don't like that. But when you have something that costs $20 compared to something that costs almost $40 with a non-replaceable battery, yeah, I'll happily take the 20 because in its own right, this is a really good flashlight. It is. And I'll be honest, I don't work for Rovivon. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them my loyalty, and I sure as heck don't owe them my money. I mean, yeah, this is definitely a copy of their product, in my humble opinion. But, you know, it's a good one with features that you can't get on their lights. So I do recommend the Nitecore TIKI LE. Just a really good keychain light. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon. Please continue to stay safe out there, because unfortunately, it's still dangerous. Take care, guys.